So I want you to imagine you're standing at, a typical networking event.
Oh, I can picture it already.
Right. The room's a little too loud, the acoustics are just terrible, and you're, like, balancing this lukewarm beverage in one hand while trying to shake a stranger's hand with the other.
The classic awkward setup.
Exactly. And then comes the inevitable, unavoidable question, the one we all kind of dread.
Let me guess. So what do you do?
Yes. So what do you do? And if you're like most of us, your brain just immediately boots up this, like, corporate software.
You go into autopilot.
Totally.
Mm.
You recite your services, you lift your title, you maybe hand over a business card with a, nice polished logo, and you just cross your fingers hoping for a referral down the line.
Right.
It's a ritual we all know intimately.
Yeah.
And honestly, it is usually a completely forgettable experience for literally everyone involved.
Well, it becomes forgettable because we get trapped in what psychologists call the trap of competence.
The trap of competence.
Yeah. In those high-pressure moments, we're just so desperate to prove that we're capable and professional that we default to raw data. We basically hand over a verbal resume because we think, data equals credibility.
Oh, wow. That makes so much sense.
But the thing is, the human brain is not looking for data in that moment. It's actively searching for a connection.
And that dynamic is exactly what we are unraveling today. We're looking at the insights, the frameworks, and actually some direct interview answers from Vicki Conley.
Yes.
For those who don't know, she's a 67-year-old entrepreneur, an author, a travel advisor, and the founder of this remarkably diverse brand ecosystem called Laptop Life.
Which is just a brilliant name, by the way.
It really is.
Yeah.
And Vicki has spent years observing this exact failure and how we communicate our value. So she developed a powerful two-part framework for storytelling. Our mission today is to figure out how to completely abandon that sterile, perfect business pitch.
Right, to get to the real stuff?
Exactly. To uncover the authentic narrative that actually helps people know, trust, and ultimately remember you. Okay, let's unpack this, because the place she starts is actually pretty surprising.
It is, yeah. She doesn't just tell you to throw out the facts entirely. Part 1 of her framework is literally called The Story Everyone Knows.
Which is the baseline stuff.
Yeah. When she works with entrepreneurs, like through her Member Spotlight worksheet for the Windsor Chamber of Commerce, she forces them to establish this baseline immediately.
Like, what are the basic questions she asks?
Simple things. What does your business do? Who do you serve? What inspired you to start it? And, what do you enjoy most about the work you do?
To me, this baseline is a lot like reading the ingredients on the back of a cereal box.
Oh, I like that.
Right. It tells you the facts. It tells you there's, like, oats, sugar, maybe some riboflavin inside that cardboard box.
Yeah.
And it is necessary data. I mean, if you have an allergy, you need to know it.
Absolutely. If they don't know what service you provide, they literally can't hire you.
Exactly. But reading the word oats does not make you crave the cereal. It doesn't tell you how it tastes. And it certainly doesn't bring back that, visceral childhood memory of eating it out of a plastic bowl while watching Saturday morning cartoons.
Right. It's just information.
It's just information.
Well, what's fascinating here is the cognitive science behind that cereal box analogy. It's actually quite profound.
Really? How so?
So human brains actively reject raw data when it comes to long-term memory and decision-making.
Oh.
We are biologically wired for narrative.
Wow. Biologically wired.
Yeah. So when you just give someone the ingredients of your business, your services, your pricing, your logo, you are essentially forcing their brain to do all the heavy cognitive lifting.
Oh, I see.
You're asking them to take your raw data, process it, and invent their own reason why they should actually care about you.
And the brain is inherently lazy.
Super lazy.
It's designed to conserve energy. So a prospective client or, a networking contact is just not going to do that heavy lifting for you.
They won't?
They'll just politely nod, take your business card, and move on to the next person in the room.
They absolutely will. And yet, most business owners stop at the what. They rely so heavily on that polished corporate speak because, well, it feels safe.
Right, it shields them from vulnerability.
Exactly. But by playing it safe, they fundamentally fail to build trust. Trust requires an emotional anchor, and raw data simply cannot provide one.
Okay, so this is where Vicki's philosophy forces a massive pivot.
Yes.
Because once you have that baseline, once the ingredients are listed, you have to transition away from that sterile corporate brochure. You have to find the human heartbeat behind the business.
Which she calls part 2, right? The story people remember.
Yes, exactly. This phase is entirely about finding that anchor. Why do people actually connect with you?
And Vicky uses a specific set of, like, deeper prompts to pull this out of people. Honestly, if you're listening to this, I highly recommend asking yourself these questions today.
Oh, for sure.
She asks things like, was there a moment that changed the way you see your work? What challenge taught you your most valuable lesson? Tell me about a customer, mentor, or conversation you will never forget.
I love those. And she goes even deeper than that, too. She asks, was there a day you questioned everything? And what happened next? When did your business stop being just a business and become part of who you are?
That's a powerful one.
It really is. And my personal favorite, she asks, what is something people would never know about your professional journey unless you told them?
See, every single one of those prompts requires you to step outside of the corporate jargon.
You can't answer those with a mission statement.
Exactly. You cannot. They demand a narrative. They demand a level of reflection that proves you're a real person who has navigated real obstacles, not just, some avatar selling a service.
Right. But I have to stop you there, though, because my immediate fear, and I imagine the fear of a lot of our listeners who are naturally private people, is the risk of oversharing.
Oh, yeah. The oversharing trap.
Because if I'm at a professional networking event, I don't want to turn a simple handshake into like a therapy session.
Right. Nobody wants that.
Where is the line between being authentic and just being completely unprofessional? How do you know what real story to tell without making things just super awkward?
Well, that is the most common fear people have when they hear the word vulnerability in a business context.
Definitely.
But Vicky addresses this brilliantly through a concept we can call selective authenticity.
Selective authenticity.
Yeah, she is not asking you for an autobiography. She doesn't want your deepest, darkest secrets. She is asking for a single, intentional point of connection.
Okay, let me see if I can put a visual to that. It feels like the difference between giving a new friend a tour of your house versus letting them dig through your medicine cabinet.
Oh, that's good. Yes.
Because when you give a house tour, you want to show them the lived-in living room. You leave a pair of shoes by the door, maybe there's a book open on the couch, family photos on the wall. It proves a real human lives there.
Right, it's warm.
It's warm and inviting. But you keep the messy medicine cabinet firmly shut because they don't need to see your prescriptions to know you are a human being.
That is a brilliant way to frame it. Selective authenticity is just showing the living room. Think about how Vicky applies this to her Voices of the Chamber project in Windsor.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that.
That project is not a business directory. It's not a collection of sales pitches or some glossy corporate magazine.
It's totally different.
It's a community history project designed specifically to highlight the human being behind the storefront. When she reviews submissions for that project, her primary rule is to look for the human story first.
Because businesses might create the local economy, but it's the people who actually weave the fabric of the community.
Exactly. And those small, relatable stories are the threads. A story about a lesson learned from a difficult client, or, the day you almost closed your doors but found a reason to stay open.
Those are the ones that hit hard.
They have the greatest impact. They humanize you. They prove you have resilience. You're sharing just enough of your journey to demonstrate character, which is the literal foundation of trust.
And for anyone feeling intimidated by the actual process of writing this out, Vicky offers incredibly practical advice.
She does.
She says just imagine you are sitting with a friend over a cup of coffee. You set a timer for 3 minutes, you don't overthink it, and you just write without editing.
No backspacing.
Right. You ignore perfect grammar.
No.
You ignore polished phrasing. The goal is not a perfect, award-winning business story. The goal is a real one.
And that coffee shop mindset is key because it forces you into a conversational tone. It just strips away the pretense we usually adopt when we think we are doing, business writing.
Totally. Okay, so we have this theoretical framework now, the cereal box versus the human heartbeat.
Right.
But here's where it gets really interesting. I want to look at how Vicky actually lives this out. Because it's one thing to give advice on storytelling, and it is entirely another to use it to drive actual business growth.
Oh, she definitely walks the walk.
She applies this exact framework to her own remarkably diverse brand ecosystem. This includes her travel advising, her content creation, and her marketing workshops.
And her application of this is where the genius of the strategy truly reveals itself. Because she doesn't just sell travel advising or offer consulting.
No, she doesn't.
She shares the completely unvarnished, gritty reality of her own journey through her wild card adventures and laptop life brands. She treats the entire journey as the content, not just the beautiful destinations.
The details she shares are wild.
Mm.
We're talking about her posting the actual real numbers of her travel.
The exact receipts.
Yes. She documents booking a 14-day solo cruise to the Mexican Riviera on the Carnival Friends for just $753.
It's incredible.
Or she'll talk about catching a Frontier Gold Wild flight for $16.
$15.
Right. But instead of just posting a curated highlight reel of a beach sunset with, like, a generic inspirational quote, she categorizes her content into deeply human, story-driven buckets.
Which completely shifts the audience's relationship with her. Think about it. When you see a polished influencer on a beach, you might feel envy, but you don't necessarily feel trust.
Exactly the opposite. You assume they have a production team or a massive budget.
Right. But Vicky leans into the reality of travel. She has content categories explicitly called airport survival and travel lessons learned.
And my absolute favorite is her signature bucket, Wildcard Stories. There's a specific title she uses for one of her posts that just perfectly captures this ethos.
Oh, I know the one.
It's called The Ride to the Bus Stop Cost Me a Fried Chicken Dinner.
I love that title so much. The brilliance of a title like that is its unique humanity. Anyone who has ever traveled has made a ridiculous, cascading series of miscalculations that ended up costing them, money or pride or a good meal.
We've all been there.
Exactly.
She even turns literal travel disasters into major points of connection. Like, there's a story she shares about booking a cruise with her high school best friend, Kathy.
Oh, this story is such a perfect example.
Right, this was supposed to be a huge deal. It was Kathy's big return to cruising, her very first time in a balcony cabin. They have it all planned out.
Yeah.
And then, mere days before they're supposed to sail, Kathy breaks her ankle and has to cancel the entire trip.
For most travel creators or advisors, that is a nightmare scenario. They would hide it.
Totally.
They would pivot their content and pretend the trip was always meant to be a solo adventure because a broken ankle ruins the aesthetic of a perfect vacation.
But Vicky leans entirely into the disaster. She shares the reality of the situation. She details how the travel insurance, which she strategically advises all her clients to get, stepped in and made Kathy completely whole financially.
And she doesn't stop there.
No. She shares the emotional arc of how that heartbreaking detour eventually led to Kathy having not one, but 2 future balcony cruises booked.
Think about the underlying message that story sends to a potential client. She isn't just selling a cruise package. She is using a disaster to showcase her own resilience, the undeniable value of proper planning, and, honestly, the enduring nature of human friendship.
Yeah.
If I'm looking for a travel advisor, I don't want someone who only knows how to handle a perfect trip.
Obviously not.
I want the person who knows exactly what to do when a client breaks their ankle 3 days before departure.
And the fascinating part of all this is how she leverages her physical presence and the stories she tells about getting there into entirely unique revenue streams.
Oh, the arbitrage.
Yes.
It's not just about gaining social media followers. It is about creating actionable, profitable business opportunities out of thin air. Take her trade show trailblazing service as an example.
That service is an absolute masterclass in combining storytelling with practical business sense. Right, so she travels to the ASD Market Week in Las Vegas. Now, she uses her cheap $16 flights and her public transit hacks to get there as affordably as humanly possible.
Truly.
And while she is physically walking the floor at this massive trade show, she acts as a personal wholesale shopper for small business owners who simply cannot afford the time or the money to attend themselves.
That's brilliant.
She charges them $99 to scout products, meet vendors, and capture emerging trends on their behalf.
Let's break down the psychological bridge that makes someone willing to pay for that. By meticulously documenting the gritty realities of her travel, like sleeping in uncomfortable airport chairs, navigating confusing public transit, or taking a $6 Mustang ride to save $150 on a shuttle, she builds this massive reservoir of trust.
She's showing her work.
Exactly. She visually proves that she is resourceful, strategic, and unrelenting. She demonstrates what we might call competence through chaos.
Competence through chaos. I love that. And it makes total sense. Because if she can hack a complex travel puzzle and survive the logistical nightmare of modern air travel with a smile on her face, she can definitely handle scouting products for my boutique.
Precisely the point. When she offers a B2B service like trade show trailblazing, or when she launches her $97 5-day book challenge to help people navigate the muddy waters of self-publishing, her audience buys in immediately.
Because they already trust her.
Yes. They've seen her solve complex problems in real time. They know she isn't presenting a fake, curated reality.
It almost feels counterintuitive, but a disastrous, complicated trip is actually vastly superior marketing content for her than a seamless, perfect one.
Authenticity and clear storytelling will always be exponentially more effective than polished advertisements. When Vicky shows you the literal spreadsheet of exactly what her trip cost.
People love the spreadsheets.
Right. Or when she explains the bizarre logic behind buying an $895 premium credit card just to access airport lounges because it mathematically reduces the friction of her constant travel, she is inviting you inside her brain.
You're getting the whole process.
You're no longer just buying a service from her, you're buying into her mindset.
Which brings us to the ultimate payoff for you, the listener. We've examined how finding that deeper narrative builds genuine connection. We've looked at how Vicky uses her unvarnished, messy stories to drive her various revenue streams.
And launch new services.
Exactly. But the most important part of this deep dive is what this framework means for the big picture of your life and your daily grind.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Vicky lays out a final, incredibly powerful progression in her work with the Voices of the Chamber Vision Guide.
Let's hear it.
It's a philosophy that every business owner should internalize. The progression flows like this. Stories preserve history. Authentic stories build trust. Trust builds relationships. Relationships build referrals. And over time, those relationships become your legacy.
I love that progression so much because it completely shifts the pressure off the shoulders of the entrepreneur.
It really does.
So many of us feel this constant, exhausting tension. Like we feel like we have to choose between hustling aggressively to grow our bottom line today or doing the slow, meaningful work that builds a legacy for tomorrow. But what Vicky is illustrating is that they are not two different paths.
No, they're the exact same path.
They are the exact same path.
Legacy and business growth are absolutely not competing ideas. They form a continuous, self-reinforcing loop. By making trust the central bridge between your daily operations and your long-term vision, you create an ecosystem that is both highly profitable in the short term through organic referrals and deeply meaningful in the long term.
Because communities and businesses are not remembered because of their brick-and-mortar buildings. I mean, if a building burns down, the community just rebuilds it.
Right.
They aren't remembered for their clever, expensive logos or their blowout annual sales events.
No, they're remembered because of the people. They are remembered for the individuals who lived, worked, served, and cared enough to leave a tangible impact on the people around them. When you share the real story of why you started, when you admit the challenges that almost broke you, and when you highlight the moments that redefined your purpose, you are doing so much more than just marketing a service.
You're preserving the human history of your community.
And you're simultaneously building the exact type of trust required to grow your business today. It is a profoundly refreshing way to view the dreaded networking event. Your most valuable business asset is not the service you provide. Countless other people in your city probably provide the exact same service, maybe even at a lower price point.
Most certainly.
Your single most valuable asset is the authentic story of how and why you do it. That is the one thing no competitor can ever copy, replicate, or undercut.
And it is the only story that makes you truly memorable long after those business cards have been thrown away in a drawer somewhere. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Vicky Conley's framework, we want to leave you with a challenge.
A little homework.
Just a little bit. We want you to take a hard look at your own professional journey right now. Think about the massive ups, the terrifying downs, the unexpected detours, and the metaphorical broken ankles that forced you to change your plans.
Look for the anchor. Find that one specific moment or lesson that completely shifted your perspective.
Think about what you would tell a friend over a cup of coffee. What is the one specific thing people would never know about your journey unless you explicitly told them? And the next time you're standing in a loud room with a lukewarm drink and a stranger shakes your hand and asks, "So what do you do?"
Yeah.
What would happen if you skipped the corporate resume, left the cereal box ingredients behind, and started with that story instead?